Friends, family, fans, Joe Exotic here, dressed as Cam Smith. Welcome to Back Nine Bets, episode 27, Muirfield Smith Myth. Also confused with Muirfield Christmas. Mike Tyson typically gets it confused every now and then. Anyway, it is Cam Smith week. That is why I'm dressed like Joe Exotic. My mustache, I must be honest with you, it's not quite what Cam has. It's too good. It's too good of a mustache. So we'll have to deal with it. But it is the Memorial 2022. It's going to be a blast. Fun golf course to dissect. Awesome field. Lots of fun names to get to at the top of the board and in the middle. Let's do this thing. Let us do this. First off, here's the model. We don't want that. We want key stats. We've got all sorts of stuff. I haven't been prepared for this nonsense. As always, me coming in off the top rope. Here we go. What happens at Muirfield Village Golf Club? Well, accuracy, distance is the number one non-factor here. If you don't have a lot of distance, no problem. Keep your ball in the fairway. Keep your ball playable. In the rough is no bueno. Zero chance to hit the greens from the rough for the most part, unless you're a freak. Accuracy, way above tour average, a little bit above tour average there. And then strokes gained approach. This is a second shot golf course, typically. I know that we have some stats here that don't look quite right because I changed some numbers because they did the renovation. So we're trying to keep a few of the proximities, a few of the stats the same. So we're doing last year's stats twice and then 2020 and 2019 once each. So it's like 50-50 split. Just so we have a decent baseline of stats. So strokes gained approach is essential. Big time on strokes gained approach. We want all of the strokes gained approach. Second shot golf course, absolutely. And then around the greens. Got to be handy around the greens. Got to absolutely be handy around the greens. Putting, not as essential, but we still like a good putter. That's what's cooking on the stats. Proximity numbers, it looks like 125 to 200 is going to count for about 53% of the shots. So it's not that massive of a proximity differential between the tour average and what goes on here. But who the hell actually really even knows what these proximity numbers are, because we've only got 1 year of data since the renovation. Prior to that, it was a bit more of a 175 and in golf course, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. I feel like if you just have good approach play at this golf course, you're going to see a lot of ranges. You're going to see like Joe Exotic to Cam Smith kind of range. All of them. All of them. Let's get into the model. Excuse me for my my lack of preparation here. Anywho, we have got 40% total approach, and that's made up of 15% strokes gained approach, 5% approach of the last 24 rounds, and then just those proximity numbers divvied up into a percentage to get us to 40%. Strokes gained around the green, 15 percentages, people. That's where we want to handle ourselves around the greens. Can't afford mishaps. Putting, 1% baseline putting, 3% on bent grass, 1% putting last 24 rounds on all surfaces. No birdies. 15% bogey avoidance, absolutely critical here. Scores are going to, unless you like John Rahm and tear this place up and get to like 15, 19 under par, it's going to be around 10 to 13 to 14. So not that high of scoring. And if you can't score on the par fives, you're screwed. You are done for. Screwed, magooed. Par five scoring essential. They're the only two holes that play under par on this golf course. Have to. I'm just getting away from strokes gained off the tee here. Have to play well on the par fives. That's the only place that you can make a ton of birdies. The rest of the holes are very difficult. Very, very difficult. Kind of like dressing up like Cam. I'm going to make that joke all day. It is what it is. Joe Exotic in the house. Back nine bets. Muirfield Smith Miss. Welcome to the podcast, friends. Strokes gained off the tee, 8%. Driving accuracy, 2%. Good drives gained, 3%. And then off the tee, last 24 rounds, DOS percentages for a total of 15%. Now we can go over here and do course history. Course history, very important at this venue. Very predictive of success. You see guys that do well here repeatedly. We see guys that suck here repeatedly. And Joe Exotic is one of them. So we'll have to see what he gets up to this week, but we have faith. There's a Smith myth, and it's going to be debunked this week. Stats, 70%. So all of those numbers we just went through on the left-hand side, 70%. World golf ranking, 10%. Last 24 rounds, just strokes gained total. We want to see who's playing good, 10%. All of these numbers are getting divvied up into 44% for 2022 data and 56 percentages for 2021 data. Soon, we're going to be 50-50. And then this year's data is going to make more of an impact on players' model rankings. So yes, welcome to the model. Let's get the bent gents out of the way. If you don't know what that is, go check out my Twitter at the Model Maniac. We have some fantastic content out there right now. The bent gents are a crowd favorite. And that just kind of determines how good of a putter you are on bent versus your baseline. Nothing too fancy, but important information nonetheless. So let us go down the board. Jon Rahm sitting, as always, at top of the model. And he is going to be looking at a 14% ownership at 11.1K. And that is kind of intriguing that people. So I'm not necessarily that big of a course history guy. I prefer a good solid foundation of recent form and statistics that fit the course that you're going to. Now, I understand people like Matt Kuchar, Bubba Watson, there's no logic, rhyme, or reason as to why people play well or play bad at certain courses. But Jon Rahm has absolutely dominated this golf course in the last 2 years he's played. And I can't understand how, yes, he's super expensive, and yes, his recent form isn't fantastic. His approach play has been a little bit of a problem lately. Short game, a bit of an issue. But my word, if he doesn't play well at this golf course, call me Sally. I'm not entirely sure what to make of an event like that. So monitor the ownership. It's 14% right now. I think we might dabble on Johnny Rahm's side of things if he remains under 15%. I mean, holy cow. I mean, I definitely agree that his recent form is a bit of a problem. You know, even the last 8, he's ranked 8th in strokes gained total after the last 24, which isn't even that bad. His just approach play has been disgusting, but he's still driving the ball the best in the field, which is essential here. I mean, look at those good drives gains for how far he hits it. It's just incredible. So if Jon Rahm stays under 15%, sign us the F up. And also, Jon Rahm on FanDuel is plus 150 to finish inside the top 10. So just everything about his numbers right now seem a little weird. We're on that. So Johnny Rahm, Rory McIlroy, 10.9, 18% owned, and he is driving the ball just as well as Jon Rahm and probably hitting his irons a little bit better too. Doesn't quite have the track record that Jon Rahm has at the Memorial, Muirfield Village Golf Club, but he is an impressive golfer to watch. And we haven't been on Rory at all over the last few episodes, and it may be the same again. I mean, I can't deny that Rory McIlroy can't keep himself in contention. It seems obvious. It seems like he just, whenever he sniffs the lead, he does a whole bunch of things that you don't want to do that makes you have to change your pants. So if he can't get that taken care of when he's in the lead, at least he's still going to finish inside the top 5. And he makes a bunch of birdies. He gets on his hot runs. We've got an Amazon vehicle on its way, so the dogs are going to start barking when they ring the doorbell. All is going to be good, though. Rory McIlroy, delivered to you by Amazon. He is exceptionally good on the approach side of things. Now, look at how he's trending. Oh, I've also introduced some stuff that I've been promising. I've got proximity numbers for the last 24 rounds, which I haven't been necessarily doing for the last little while. So we'll include that just because we said that, a lot of the shots are going to come from 125 to 200. So that's what's cooking there. They did not ring the doorbell, so thank you. Nice and silent. Rory's proximity numbers from 125 to 200, not necessarily the greatest in the world, but his short game is stunning. He putts fantastic on bent, dominates par 5s, and he's got a decent track record here. Absolutely love Rory. We will sign him up as a yellow man. We do like Rory as a yellow guy. Patrick Cantley. Now, this is even more perturbing than the Jon Rahm ownership situation. He's also very expensive, 14% owned, just like Jon Rahm. But look at this course history. It's third in the field. This guy is a freak when it comes to playing at this golf course. I don't understand why, because not a lot of his game really translates here apart from the exceptional short game, which has let him down lately. And he's also very good at putting on bend. So I guess if you're a big bend putter, you can get successful over here. I mean, his bogey avoidance is fantastic. Par 5 scorings are fantastic. And the history here is stunning. So we like that about Patrick Cantley at 10-7, 14% owned. 14% owned. This guy's won this tournament. He just lost in a playoff 2 events ago to Jordan Spieth. Goes to a major, shoots the bed a little bit, and then all of a sudden people don't care that this guy's good. It's the perfect time to jump in on these 2 guys that have great course history that people aren't necessarily liking right now. I know I've rattled off a whole bunch of people that I like, but we're going to keep an eye on the ownership. None of these are particularly sold until we know what's cooking with the percentages here on the right column. Colin Morikawa comes into the field as one of the best ball strikers of the top bunch here until we get to Cam Smithy. But his putting has been disgusting. He's kind of in the same realm as Jordan Spieth. Him and Geordie must be putting buddies. I don't know what they're going playing putt together or what the deal is, but Colin hasn't gained strokes on the putting green since the Genesis, I think. Or he's gained once since the Genesis, which was in Feb. So that's a long time. I don't know why he can't play golf at the moment, but he's striking the ball well. Are you going to take a gamble on Colin Morikawa, who's also putted well here in the past? I don't know. So this is how you look at it. If the percentages ownership is low, I like to take a chance on someone that's having a bad putting situation. But like Jordan Spieth last week, we kind of faded him because the putter was a problem. And guess what? He gained barely any strokes putting. And we faded him. So he never won. We had Sam Burns, we had Scotty Scheffler, all of that jazz. So if Colin is going to be high owned and his putter is giving a concern, it's an easy fade. If he's low owned and the putter's a problem, then we take a gamble on the ball striking. It's just simple. It's a T junction. Take a left, low ownership to putt luck. Take a right to fade city if the ownership's high. So that's what's going on with Colin Morikawa. Xander Schauffele is the exact same as Rory McIlroy in my mind. Great numbers across the board. Beautiful stuff. I mean, look at these approach numbers. Baseline, last 24, last 12, all inside the top 20. Proximity numbers recently, a little bit of a concern, but that's, I don't really care about these. That's why they weren't in here in the first place, but I wanted to show you that they are indeed part of the program now. So, Xander, what can he do? He's 14% owned. He's going to be like Rory. Never going to really ever stay in contention. He might get himself there. He might poop the bed when he's in that situation. I don't know. Is he a bona fide winner of golf tournaments? I would say no. So we're not going to really go there. And we're going to go to Cameron Smith. People, Cam Smith, the best approach player in the field right now. He has been playing so magnificently well with his irons and even woods. He almost made an ace on hole number 8 at the PGA. A 250-yard hole, hits his 5-wood or whatever, and lips out for birdie. Just makes a par after making a near ace. Just brutal stuff. Anyway, Cameron Smith, I think there's been I call it 10 people on tour that have gained more than 10 strokes on approach in a single event. Cam Smith has done that twice. So he can get sizzlingly hot with his approach game when he wants to. Now, the good drives gained, the accuracy, the off the tee numbers are a massive, massive, massive concern. We'll get to that here in a little bit. That's the Smith myth. Around the green, he's 19th in baseline. Around the green, last 24 rounds, he's freaking 30th. He putts the best on tour over the last 2 years. Last 24 rounds, even after losing 3.5 strokes on the greens at the PGA, he's 14th in the field. Putting on bent, he's 9th. Par 5 scoring, 1st. 30 percentages, 1st. Bogey avoidance, 8th. Then he gets to Muirfield Village Golf Club and decides that he doesn't know how to play golf. His best finish has been like a T63, and it has been disgusting. 6 trips to this golf course, 4 missed cuts, and 2 60th place finishes. Disgusting stuff. Everything that you see here in green or blue, departs. Whenever he gets to Muirfield, his putter sucks, his approach game sucks, and his around the green game sucks. That doesn't make any sense to me. It makes 0 sense. What makes even less sense is the fact that every time Cam Smith has gone to this golf course, 4 out of the last 6 times he's played there, he's gained off the tee. So I don't necessarily know if it's not telling us that he's just in the rough and that's what's hindering his game, causing his approach play to suck, causing him to hit it into bad places for a round. But the putting thing, that should make no sense to me. He is one of the best putters in the world. It's go time. It's time for him to box birdie putts. It's time for him to sizzle this course up like John Rahm's done. When he's in the fairway, he's going to be hitting at 1,000,000 miles into that wedge proximity range. He hits it a long way, Cam. These off the tee numbers are very weird. They obviously show that he sucks when he sucks. But man, when he hits that driver, he can hit it a long, long way. We saw it at Augusta. He was hitting it like 350 plus. So last 24 rounds, third. Cameron Smith, 22-1 to win this freaking golf tournament. And we're going to be going at him in DFS for certain. I love Cam Smith here. He's the best approach player in the field right now. Absolutely undeniable. And when you look at the numbers, not just 1 and 2, it's 1.9 strokes gained on approach over the last 24 rounds. And then you get Colin and Max Homer, who are 1.07. So it's just like a massive 0.8 strokes per round on approach that he's beating those next 2 fantastic iron players. So Cam Smith is playing fantastic stuff. Jordan Spieth, if he's going to be forgotten this week after he burned 30% of the field last week, didn't miss the cut, but didn't quite perform the way people hoped because the putter he's got the yipsies right now. At some point, it's most likely going to change unless this turns into a historic story of one of the greatest golfers of our generation to land up losing his putting stroke. So hopefully that doesn't ever happen because that'll be very sad. But Jordan Spieth, par 5 scoring 6th. This history at this golf course is fantastic. His ball striking has been phenomenal. Everything about his approach game is just stunning right now. Look at the around the green game. He's so good. Things are great for Jordan Spieth. Off the tee recently, fantastic stuff. Now, what on earth are you going to decide with the putter? It's just like we said with Colin. If people are going to fade, or Rahm or Patrick, like we said, the T-junction scenario, there's a certain amount of percentage points that is going to allow me to tolerate the amount of risk that we are taking on with Jordan Spieth's pathetic putting right now. And maybe under 15% is the number. It seems very steep. I would like it under 10, but I doubt that ever gets there. But the putting is a major concern. And it's not that he's misreading greens. It's not any of that nonsense. It's the 4 to 5 foot range that something's going on with his mechanics that is it's just throwing it all off. So that's what's going on with Spiethy boy. Willie Z sitting as the 18th. This is one of the biggest misplacings in the model. He's 18th in the model, but he's, inside the top, whatever, 8 people. And he's going to be 19% owned. Going to a place that he's a different golfer now too, kind of like the Cam Smith argument. But I don't know, man. I'm happy to fade Willie Z. Look at his approach play recently. It's kind of gone south, hasn't it? He's the second best baseline approach play in the field. But his last 24 rounds, he's 30th. And then the last 12 rounds, he's 50th. So he's kind of losing it. I don't know what's going on necessarily with his approach play there. Tidy around the greens, but once you start putting on bend for Willie Z, it's game over, especially on the weekends. He putts really well sometimes on a Thursday, Friday. When you get into the weekend, it's a problem. Dominates the par 5s, eliminates the bogeys, a really good ball striker, but those birdie putts just don't seem to fall. Victor Hovland at 22% owned. I want nothing to do with that, especially with these red glaring around the green numbers here. Like we said, we're happy to fade people at massive ownership. There's lots of other guys we like here. if Victor's around the green game is as big a problem as it is for Cam Smith, I'll go to Cam. Jordan's putting, I'll go to Jordan. Now, Victor's one of the best ball strikers in the field, obviously. Don't get me wrong there, but at 22%, might have to dodge him a little bit. Hideki Matsuyama, 17% owned, $9,200. Hideki is also, we've got a absolute core of beastly ball strikers here in the middle, in the 9K range. Holy cow, talk about a band of brothers that can ball strike the crap out of it. And then there's short games. Hello, look at this. This is hilarious. These three guys are like identical when it comes to their chipping, putting, and their ball striking. So that's kind of weird how they clumped those guys together. But Hideki is very handy around the greens, not necessarily on the greens. The bent putting is a massive issue for the Hideki monster. But we have a top 20 bet on Hideki Matsuyama at plus 125 on BetMGM. Ties paid in full. Go check them out. They are fantastic. Ties paid in full are clutch. Bogey avoidance for Hideki's 19th. Par 5 scoring is 5th. So everything about the ball striking off the tee the last few rounds inside the top 30, that's totally fine. His accuracy and good drives gained is stunning. He's not necessarily the longest driver of the golf ball. But the ball striking stuff is going to help him get into the top 20. I think that's the play. If he putts well, then he contends. If he doesn't, he's going to be floating around the top 20, hopefully with very exceptional ball striking. So that's the deal with Hideki Matsuyama at Muirfield Village. Top 20 plus 125. Go catch that on BetMGM. They've been offering some really juicy numbers for top 20 bets, and they pay ties in full. So anywho, we like to, on this channel, discuss a little bit of back nine bets. And what I use as a general rule of thumb is if a top 20 bet is paid ties in full, I'm willing to sacrifice 30 points worth of the odds so that I can get those ties paid in full. Because basically once every third time, you get a bet that gets slashed into a million pieces from dead heat rules. So that's always nice to have ties paid in full. But if you have other odds that are 40 points or more than the ties that pay in full, then we'll risk it because it's offering a whole almost 0.4 of a unit extra. So that's kind of the trade-off. You take a risk, it burns you, it doesn't. So that's how it goes. But Matt Fitzpatrick is next up on the board at $9,100, and he was on everyone's card at Southern Hills, which seems like this kind of golf course would fit that kind of mold too. Kind of keep it in the fairway, because otherwise you're going to have a tough time holding the greens, attacking the pins. That's what Matty Fitz does off the tee. He's gaining distance lately, and his good drives gained are fantastic. Recent approach play, a bit of a concern. He started off really well in the beginning of the year and it's kind of plateaued. But that's really well. Doesn't do that well on bent. 14%. Wada. Moving on. Shane Lowry, 23% owned, 9K. And the man is 75th on bent greens over the last 50 rounds. Now I went and looked, and the last time he putted on bent greens that's in the system was at the CJ Cup in 2021, which is a long, long time ago. So that's not necessarily that helpful. He putted okay at Southern Hills, which is bent, which is not in this. Why don't they put that in the system? That's really frustrating. Fantasy National, get it together. Why can't you put the majors in there? There's probably a very good reason for it. Anyway, Shane Lowry, 9K flat, 23% owned. It's probably going to get higher than that. So no, we got other people we'll go to in this range, like not Sanjay. I can't say I'm a fan of Sanjay either, because he was striking the hell out of the golf ball last week and managed to finish 15th for a top 20 for us. But I mean, his putting is just atrocious. 6 feet putts, not even burning the edge, just missing by a cup. Just it's not good on bent. I don't know if these bent greens at Muirfield are going to be easier. They typically easier greens. But the bogey avoidance is great. The par 5 scoring is fantastic. The history here speaks for itself. It's probably the putter that's been a massive concern for Shang Jie. Now, if I'm going to eat some chalk in this range, it's going to be it's going to be Cameron Young. He is one of our outrights this week, 40-1 to win the freaking golf tournament. He's finished T3rd, T2nd, and T3rd in his last 3 tournaments. If that doesn't scream, I'm going to win my next tournament or miss the cut, I don't know what it does. So I think Cam Young is going to do great things. I mean, look at the approach play. He's dialed that in over the last while. Look how this is trending. 54th in approach baseline for the year. He's a rookie, so that's just this year's stats. Approach over the last 24, he's 35th. And then over the last 12 rounds, he's 9th in the field. And we've got Cam Smith, we got Rory McIlroy, we got freaking Davis Riley. And these guys are just striking the crap out of the golf ball right now. So Cam Young is right in the mix. He's the second Cam we have on our outright card. And I think he's going to do fantastic stuff at this golf course. So that's what's going on there. I mean, he's around the green game has been fantastic lately. He's really worked on that. He's tidied that up in the beginning of his rookie year. It wasn't that big of a strength for him. Now it's making its way there. The putter seems to have shown some life recently. So that's good. 15% owned, $8,800. Happy to dodge Shane Lowry. I mean, they're basically the same person right now, aren't they? He's cheaper than Shane, and he's playing probably better than Shane. He's showing he can get in the mix, where Shane kind of just messes around in the back, has a bad hole here and there when it makes the biggest difference, and then pisses it away. Same as Cam Young. We've seen him hit some bad shots when it matters, but he's in the mix a lot. And he's going to be way less owned than Shane Lowry. Happy to go there. Really do like Max Homa lately. His approach play, look at this. Last 24 rounds, second in the field. He's so good. He's so good. The around the green game, big red flag. I looked at his numbers when he played well here last year at Muirfield. The around the green game wasn't that big of a problem. That's what's going on there. He's putting really nicely lately. He does really well on the par 5s. And Max's scoring numbers and his baseline numbers aren't going to be what you think, because he never played that well last year. He'd spike and then play bad, and his numbers were bad because of that. This year, he's playing incredibly consistent golf. 14th in the field over the last 24 rounds, and he's even won a tournament. So never necessarily played too well at the last 2 events, not like up to his standard, but he just looked a bit checked out. So hopefully he comes back refreshed this week and kicks some ass. Monitor the ownership on Max, though. 18% it's steep. It's very steep. So we'll see what's cooking. We'll see what's cooking there. Davis Riley also is going to be 12% owned, $8,600. He's playing some fantastic golf right now. Look at this recent approach play. He has yet to gain strokes back-to-back in the season. He did that the last tournament and then went back-to-back-to-back. So he's now gained on approach 3 times in a row, which is the first time he's done that in his PGA Tour career, which is a great sign. So now it's been 3 times in a row. This boyki can absolutely crush it off the tee. Look, he's off the tee numbers. Just every aspect of his game is trending. Off the tee for the season, 47th. Off the tee last 24th, 31st. And then off the tee for the last 12, it's 25th. So he's playing fantastic golf. Putting really nicely as well. And then obviously the scoring stats haven't quite caught up to what he's getting up to right now. So we love everything about Davis Riley. We have him to win this tournament at 60-1. The man is on fire. He's finished inside the top 15, I think, in the last 4 tournaments he's played in. He's also knocking on that door, ready to absolutely be the first Korn Ferry Tour graduate from last year to rack up a W on a mainstream event. We had Chad Ramey do it out in the Pacific Islands or wherever, Corrales or wherever he was, without any studs. We got all the boys here. A Korn Ferry Tour member has to win an event this year. These guys are too good not to. So one of them is going to, it's either Cam Young or Davis Riley this week. I hope it's not Will Zalatoris, because we are fading him entirely in every market. the Davy boy. Hopefully he can, the Mississippi Mustang. Let's see what he can get up to for us. And then we got Daniel Berger. He's a 12th ranked model man, and he has been quite disappointing over the last 24 rounds. Just, he's been a mixed bag. Yeah, we had him for a top 20 at the PGA and shot 13 over par. Then we faded him because we thought he was injured last week, and then goes and finishes T23. We would have had to place a top 20 bet on him, but we never, because we thought he was hurt. Thank God, because that would have been back-to-back T just outside top 20s that Daniel Berger's provided back 9 bets with. Kind of salty about the one that he did at RBC. T21. Just brutal stuff. Anywho, the guy is a magician around the greens. The last shot he hit in competitive environment was a hole out from when you couldn't even see him in the camera. So he held it out from a million miles away off the green, and it is what it is. So if he can get, can you go outside? If he can get cooking with the approach play, it's gonna be. I mean, his baseline is 6th in the field, so that's all that matters there. His bogey avoidance is 10th, and then his par 5 scoring is 34th. So it's an interesting concept. Do we like Daniel Berger? Absolutely at 7%. I know Sia Najad is a big fan. My God, Ernie Els. Speaking of, I'm going to be going to the Principal Charity Classic. Ernie, who's outside? Who's outside? And then Ernie Els is going to be there. So I might take my dog, walk him, and say, hey, check Ernie. Anyway, we are getting way confused here. But Daniel Berger is 7% owned at $8,500. It's a stunning leverage play. Hopefully it doesn't catch too much steam. I know Sia is mainstream, so I know he's been absolutely advocating for Daniel Berger, who I do believe is a good player, especially at those ownership numbers. He's the 12th ranked guy in my model. So yeah, everything about his game suits this golf course. Accuracy and good drives gained at this golf course are critical. Unless your name's Cam Smith, we're going to just avoid that. But Daniel Berger does that stuff. So, his game is very hit or miss. He can land up winning this golf tournament, or he might land up missing the cut. His floor is very, very, very low right now. But his ceiling, I would say, is up there with the best of them, especially at a course like this. Corey Connors, I don't have a lot to say about him. I'm kind of going to just start skipping over some guys now. Abraham Answer, on the other hand, if we're going to get, we were all in an Abe Answer at Colonial, where accuracy of the tee mattered, where your approach play had to be solid, and you have to be a good putter. The only thing Abe Answer is a absolute horror show at is around the green stuff. I'm not entirely sure why, but that is the case with him. He's never been the best around the green, not now, not recently, not ever. But every part of his game is so solid. And he missed the cut at Colonial, which hurt. We had him as an outright in the top 20 and all that jazz. But I think he's a great play this week at 2%. We're getting a guy that can really pop up into, he can easily finish top 20 here, and he's going to be 2% owned. I mean, if you were to think that Abe Answer is going to finish top 20 this week because he sucked it up around the greens a little bit, but struck the ball well, was in the fairway all the time, made a lot of putts, you wouldn't tell me I'm lying. That seems like a very valid forecast. 2% owned Abraham Answer. He's one of my favorite plays this week. I think we might go quite a lot of Abe. Take on a bit of risk there. The around the green game, very big concern. But I mean, look at this good drives gain and the accuracy. The guy is just, at this golf course, that is a premium trait, and he's got it. So, AB Answer. Keegan Bradley, 14th ranked play in the model. Keegan Bradley, the last 24 rounds, has got the 4th best aggregate strokes gained total in this field. What are we doing? He's 11% owned at $8,100. We're going to go hard at Keegan. We have Keegan for an outright at 6. I think I got it at 80 to 1 on him at BetMGM early on Monday morning. I think it's down to 66 now. Still would have hammered that. Love Keegan here. We had to turn back the history books a little bit to go back to 2015, 2016, when Keegan gained. I believe that it makes sense that it was still when he was still doing the belly putter, because he gained on the greens in both those events at the Memorial, and he finished T8. So Kiki has been putting a lot better lately. I'm sure if you've been following the channel, you will know that, because his last 24 rounds on the greens, he's 21st in this field. Look at that baseline. It's typically way in the hundreds. So Keegan's playing really, really good golf right now. And the sad, very frustrating part about Keegan's game at the moment is that as his putter has shown life and we've jumped on the bandwagon, his baseline on approach is 7th. His last 24 rounds, his approach play has gone to 21st. And then the last 12 rounds, it's 47th. So he's regressed on the ball striking front at the exact same time his putters got better, which makes logical sense because you're practicing your putting a lot and you're not hitting your irons. So he needs to get his irons figured out so that his putter can have some tag teams, some freaking ammunition, he needs the short birdie looks to start cracking, man. So that's very, very frustrating. But around the greens, he's super solid, absolutely stunning. And then all of these numbers are going to be from last year and this year when Keegan wasn't putting that well. So his bogey avoidance is 34th. Can argue that it's getting much better by the day. Now he's putting better. And the par 5 scoring, also fantastic stuff. $8,100, 11% owned. I'm one of the biggest advocates for Keegan Bradley right now. I know he's not a crowd favorite, not very fun to watch, but his game gets the job done. Especially if he's going to be right here hanging above Mito Pereira. We love Mito as well. I mean, what is there not to like? He's just, everything about his game is just firing right now. The guy, he's got that 1 week behind him now that he's just finished the PGA after the blowout. He still finished, I think, inside the top 20 last week. So that was good from Mito. The approach play is obviously magnificent right now. I mean, everything about his game. Do we eat 17%, 16% Mito Pereira at 8K when we have Keegan and Abraham that we like too? I know they're not necessarily playing as well as him, but holy cow. 16% it's steep, but maybe, if we get a little different upstairs, then we roll with Mito. But we've got so many nice options that we really, really do like over here in the just beneath him. So we're going to go right over to Seamus Power, where we've got a top 20 at plus 200, I believe. Let's figure it out. Seamus Power, where are you, my friend? Yep. So you can get it on FanDuel for plus 220, or you can get it at BetMGM over here for plus 200 and they pay the ties in full, which we like to see. So that's what Seamus Power is going on. We got a top 20 on him again. We love Seamus. We absolutely love Seamus on this channel. He is going to be our hero this week. Look at this. This guy's game is built and designed for this golf course. We've got him at 70-1 to win the golf tournament. Off the tee, last 24 rounds, 16th. Good drives gained, 15th. Recent approach play, major concern. However, PGA Championship, all 4 rounds, T9, all 4 rounds on approach, he gained every single round. Love to see that. So we've been watching Seamus for long enough that we know his approach play is capable of being very, very good. It has gone off the deep end a few times lately, but we know what he's capable of. So if we saw a bit of life in his game at the PGA, now's the time to pounce. 6% owned at 8K. Also, beautiful stuff, especially when Mito's right above him. So I love where Mito is there. Nothing like a Mito on top of a Seamus. That's going to suck away a lot of ownership. Par 5 scoring, 12th in the field, friends, family, and fans. Bogey avoidance is 2nd in this field. We just said bogey avoidance is critical around this venue. Even when he was playing bad. I mean, look at his strokes gained total last 24. He's 13th. Everything about his game over the last 24 rounds doesn't make sense that he's playing that well, but he just gets the ball in the hole. So that's what we love about Seamus. And all of our outrights are first round leaders as well. So that's 8%, 8K, 6% owned. Billy Horschel, what have you done, Billy? Billy's gone off the boil. over the Horschel. I don't know what's going on there. We had him in our sights, and now he's gone off the boil again, unfortunately. So no good on Billy there, and he's at the same price as Seamus. Whoa, whoa. Have fun with that one, people. We'll take Seamus over Billy all day. Patrick Reed. Let's change the channel here a little bit. Here is the Patrick Reed flow chart. Let me get this. There we go. Okay, so in Patrick Reed's 7 of his 8 wins that he has had on tour, there is a pattern. He's had a T11 in 1 of his 6 starts prior, these yellow boxes. He's had a top 20 in 3 of his 6 starts leading up to the event, the green boxes. And then he's also had T24 in, he was a T24 in his last 2 starts before the win. So he's always going to have some sort of a green box over here or a yellow one before the win. Except for this one where he had just a top 20 right before the event, which is still, a telltale sign. However, this year, Patrick Reed's last 6 starts, finished 7th at Colonial. So that checks the 2 boxes, T11 in 1 of 6 starts and T24 in 1 of the last 2 starts. Then you get a T26 6 starts ago, and then we've got these mediocre performances, 34th, 42nd, and 35th, which are interesting. Are we willing to bend the rules and include those as top 20s? Especially, if we go top 20 right here, this box would have been the one that 7 starts ago was a T26 as well, which is just too far away. Nothing over here makes that much sense. But this T7 at Colonial, he's ditched the PXG clubs. The guy's playing fantastic golf. He's gained in back-to-back, like Davis Riley. He's gained in back-to-back events now. Maybe this will be the 3rd time he does it. He has played fantastic golf at this venue, 6th, and it makes sense. He's $7,900, 13% owned. I think we'll take a Patrick Reed chalk at 13%, especially at $7,900. That gives us some real nice leverage, salary leverage to really get after it. Now, if you want to pivot to somebody else, I love Matt Kuchar as well. His ball striking has been trending in the right direction as well. 74th in the field. Oh, and we have Patrick Reed for a top 10 at plus 500 on DraftKings. Plus 500 for a top 10. This guy's finished top 10 at this venue the last 2 times he teed it up, and he's playing fantastic golf, very short term. Plus 500. At Kuchar, though, last 24 rounds, 11th in the field for strokes gained total. Beautiful stuff from Matty Cooch. Around the green, very important at this venue. Guess what? He's one of the best in the field at around the green nonsense. So that's what's going on with Matt Kuchar. Putts lights out, and the par 5 scoring is a bit of a concern. But if we're looking for someone to, the putter can level so many playing fields. He is so good at putting. He doesn't necessarily have to bomb it down the fairway. He can hit it 5 to 10 feet further from the hole than the majority of the field, and still box those putts. He's so very good on the greens. The par 5 scoring, a major red flag, along with just his lack of distance off the tee. But his accuracy is very good still off the tee. So as we saw, the distance isn't that big of a big deal here. Bryson DeChambeau is not in the field, I don't believe. But he's in the model, whatever. Chris Kirk, 9%. I keep going too far. But 9% for Chris Kirk is also, if we're going to, be in the same meter range, we're going to get about half the ownership on Chris Kirk, who's arguably been playing about as well as Mito. He is, 17th in the last 24 rounds, not necessarily as good as Mito, sorry, but he's got the blueprint for this golf course. Off the tee, last 24 rounds, 18th in the field. Good drives gained, 23rd. Accuracy, 31st. Approach, the last 24 rounds, 12th. Last 12 rounds, 33rd. Beautiful stuff. He is very, very handy around the greens. 3rd in baseline around the greens. 6th over the last 24 rounds. Stunning stuff. The putter, a big problem, but it has been better lately. We love to see that from Chris Kirk. He's finished inside the top 20 the last 2 times he's played. One of those was a T5 at freaking the PGA Championship. Lots to like about Chris Kirk, friends. 9% owned in the 7K range. He could easily be an 8.5K golfer. Who would we mix him in the mix here with? Corey Connors, Joaquin Neiman, Abraham Answer, Keegan Bradley, Mito. Like he could easily be up here. This guy's been playing fantastic golf. Adam Scott is another quick name you just want to mention. Fantastic course history. I think he's around the green deficiencies, the absolute catastrophe that is around the green for Adam Scott is nullified at this golf course. He likes to chip around this venue. Apparently, he likes to chip out a cabbage. Doesn't like those tight lies where he has to nip it good. Wants to hack away at it. Different strokes for different folks. If Adam Scott likes to chip out a cabbage, then so be it. He obviously does it very well at this venue. He hits his irons. That's about it. The course history stuff is nice from Adam. He's got a really fantastic approach baseline. If you want to lean on some course history, Adam Scott's your guy. Jason Day, going to skip over him. I know T of Sports got all the information you need on him. Go check him out on the Better Golf podcast, and he'll be here on in 15 minutes at Win Daily Sports PGA Draftcast, which I will be joining the chat if you're not doing that already, right after this. Then, Siwoo Kim, fantastic course history, ball striking machine, in the fairway, approach play, fantastic. Putting sucks, but he sucks putting, man. Man, he sucks. We've been on him a lot lately, and he's let us down. Alex Noren, very good bend putter. We were heavy on Alex Noren going into the PGA Championship. Everything about his game was trending in the right direction, and then he had an absolute meltdown of a round. I think he shot 8 over par. It was so sad. The PGA hurt us. It hurt us in a big way. But Alex Noren, we're going to be going back to a lot of these guys that we like going into the PGA, especially if he is going to be priced right above Mark Leishman and Aaron Wise. They're going to suck up all that ownership. Don't you just love how a person falls on a DraftKings clicks board, makes that big of a difference to their ownership? Very nice stuff, especially with Siwoo above him. Mark Leishman on bent grass is a big problem, and the same goes for Aaron Wise, but I know that he has been striking his ball fantastically lately. He's quite handy around the greens too. I can see why people like to go to Aaron Wise at 11%. If that's your kind of thing, 7.5K, 11% guy, you decide. Mark Leishman, I'm going nowhere near him. I don't know why, but that ownership scares me. Tom Hoagie, also blah, blah, blah. We're just going to kind of keep going down the board. Cameron Tringali burnt us last week, missed the cut in epic fashion, but everything about his ball striking is stunning. Approach play is still very good, very tidy around the greens, and has played quite nicely around this golf course. 22nd in course history in the rankings, and he's going to be 3% owned. Fire it up. I love that ownership. And then Cam Davis is 1% on FanShare. Their projections, I saw 4% as all. Either way, anything under 5% for Cameron Davis makes so much sense. I want to show Cameron Davis's recent approach play has been fantastic. Absolutely stunning. He's gained for like 8 straight events in a row on approach. So this guy is just phenomenal on approach right now. Inside the top 20 over the last 24 rounds, solid stuff. His chipping is not bad, and he putts a lot better on bent grass. The course history is a big concern. But if you're going to want to get frisky, if you want to dodge some ownership, you're going to have to go to guys that haven't necessarily played well here before. Now, Cameron Davis is one of those guys. Love Cameron Davis. Brian Harmon was 30% owned last week and missed the cut, and then now he's 2% at a golf course that you can argue requires a similar skill set. Get it in the fairway, have nice approach play, and then get tidy around the greens. Absolutely going back to Brian Harmon. Look at his recent approach. It's been really, really good. It's the last 12 rounds have been great. The last 24, not so much. But this golf course suits him. Harris English isn't in the field. Ignore him. Stuart Sink is a guy that not necessarily the model, a beautiful model guy, but his approach play has been phenomenal. And what Stuart Sink does is he makes a crap ton of birdies. Makes so many birdies. He had 10 birdies in 2 rounds last week and made 5 freaking doubles to miss the cut by 1. He was inside the top 5 at one point in birdies before the cut and then made 5 doubles. So that's obviously a scenario that can happen again this week. But at 2% owned in 7K, Stuart Sink has those weeks where he just pops. And his driving is pretty good. He's 43rd in good drives gained. Driver has been getting better lately, and his approach play is fantastic. It's around the greens that's a big problem for him. Maybe in the more luscious, fluscious cabbage patches that Adam Scott loves to play out of, he'll chip better. But if he's hitting his irons well enough, hopefully that stays in the background. Just a few chips here and there. Makes a lot of birdies, people. Makes a lot of birdies. Great for DFS play. Lucas Herbert as well. The ball striking stuff is disgusting, but he's the best putter in the field lately. He's just boxing putts left, right, and center, and I like he's played well here before. So, if your name's Lucas Herbert at 1% owned at 7K, I'm going to you, sir. Thank you very much. If you give me a statistic that is elite down in 7K range, I'll take a gamble on you. Adam Hadwin, 6% owned at $6,800. I do like him. I can't believe that he let us down the way he did at the PGA, made the cut and started playing atrocious golf, just hemorrhaging strokes everywhere. But he had a period of play where he'd been rattling off top 20s, left, right, and center. And then what do? We get on the train, and he misses all the top 20s. So Adam Hadwin let us down. We're going back to him, though. Absolutely going back to Adam Hadwin in DFS. And then Adam Long. He's one of my favorite approach guys to see how it's trending. 113th in approach baseline, 54th over the last 24 rounds, and then 26th over the last 12 rounds. He's been really trending nicely. He's very, very tidy on the greens, handy around the greens, and he's very accurate off the tee. So that good drive percentage incorporates your approach play. A good drive gained is if you've hit a golf ball with the driver into or around the fairway or in the trees, but if you hit it on the green and hit a green in regulation, that means that you are going to get a good drive gain checked. Now, his approach play is terrible, so the good drive gain number isn't going to be that great. But now it's trending in the right direction. He's hitting his irons a lot better, and his accuracy is actually really good, which that doesn't require a second shot to make that metric. It's in the fairway or it isn't. And he hits his ball in the fairway. Less than 18 other people are better at that than he is. He's very, very good at that. So we love to see that from him. And every $6,700, 1% owned, sign us up. Lucas Glover, also ball striking machine. Had him in our lineups last week, and he landed up hemorrhaging strokes on the green as expected. But you never know. Got a good course history here. Obviously, a ball striker's paradise, very tidy around the greens. He's playing some good golf. Lucas Glover. Charles Howell is also another guy we have our eye on. 1% owned, $6,400, tidy around the greens. The approach play is a bit of a problem, not necessarily the best thing, but now we are at $6,400, friends. He's remarkably better on bent greens, and he's also not that bad at avoiding bogeys, and he does relatively well on par fives. 1% owned, $6,400, Charles Howell. Take it as you want. Off the tee, the last 12, 17th in the field. Last 24, 51st. Good drives gained, 25th in the field. 2-year stint. Look at all this red that we have around us here. If we can glom onto any green or pink. Who's this guy? Martin Laird. Just pounding fairways. Obviously had a really bad tournament here and there, but I mean, he's $6,300. This guy's going to be in the fairways all the time. His approach play is actually very solid for $6,300. And I see enough yellow and light green and then a lot of pink to really want to go to Martin Laird. So we discovered Martin Laird before we discovered Kurt Kitayama. So we'll go back to Kurt Kitayama. Look at this as well. He's got the ball striking numbers that make a massive, massive green impact here. at $6,300 off the tee. Recently, in general, very, very good. Hits it very far. The accuracy is a big concern. I think he's still going to play well here, though. If he can keep his ball club down, hit the 3-woods, do that, all that stuff that we talk about. His approach play is solid enough, and then you get around the green, and it's a war zone. However, at $6,300, Kirk Kitayama, let's go. Martin Laird, blah, blah, and that concludes our DFS and betting. Look at all the green compared. It's so scary down at the bottom of the board. So much red. But anyway, that is what's going on here. Our 5 outrights are going to be Cameron Smith, 22-1. Cameron Young, 40-1. Davis Riley, 60-1. Seamus Power, 70-1. And Keegan Bradley, 80-1. All of those are first-round leaders. We've got John Rahm at plus 150 on FanDuel to go and finish inside the top 10, which he's done with relative ease over the last 2 years. Yes, his recent play, not so good. Then we've got Hideki Matsuyama, plus 125 to finish inside the top 20. Colin Morikawa, I don't think I mentioned that. Minus 110 on BetMGM. Ties paid in full to finish top 20. Yes, if the putter sucks, the ball striking is still there to kind of hopefully keep him in contention for a top 20. And then we've got Daniel Berger for a top 20 at plus 200 and Seamus Power for a top 20 at plus 200. Those are the guys we really, really adore. Chris Kirk just fell outside the top 20 range, which we really, really wanted to go to. But we'll be playing Chris Kirk quite a lot this week in DFS. We really, really like him. So, yes, that concludes Back 9 Bets, episode 27, the Muirfield Smith myth. I think Cam Smith's going to absolutely pepper fairways like he's done 4 out of the last 6 times he's been here. And the rest of his game is just going to absolutely blow this field away. I can't believe that a person of his caliber, of his talents, is going to go back to a venue like this that's dominated him in the past. Absolutely bitched him. I can't believe that he's going to go back playing the golf he is right now and suck again for a 7th time. I refuse to believe someone of that caliber will follow that trend. I did not shave my beard and grow this mustache for no reason. It's Cam Smith week. Joe Exotic, Back 9 Bets. That is us for the day. Catch y'all later. Linda Q out.